Hey everyone, it's another Thursday night here in Colorado. Both me and my co-host are both in Colorado. Tony, how you doing?
I'm swimming down here. Are you getting rain?
Yeah, lots of rain.
Holy cow.
Lots and lots of rain, like heavy and, we've had worse for sure, but boy, it's been heavy in spots and then it moves on and yeah, just that kind of that summer pattern. I'm doing okay. Still having car trouble. It's still dealing with that, but we'll get through it. But yeah, man, Thursday night, thanks for joining us on another Relics Radio. We're glad to have you here. We got some great guests on with us tonight. If you didn't catch last week, I encourage you to go check the replay. We were out there digging and we were talking with out there. We were out in Idaho, right?
We were
talking with Ed.
Well, we
Bakery.
weren't
That was
physically in Idaho.
No,
I wish we
were. Right.
After that conversation, I wish we were out in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah,
that's right.
Mr. Akery telling us all about Fort Sherman. That was an amazing show. Holy cow. Loved it.
Yeah, if you've never heard of Fort Sherman, go check it out. I mean, check out last week's show. It was really interesting. And then we also, if you're not a member of the Facebook group for Relics Radio, head on over there because we posted a bunch of pictures that we were talking about of his finds from that fort out there, from old Fort Sherman. So be sure to go take a look at that. What have you been up to this week? You get a chance to get it out at all? Or?
Well, I got to tell you, I got to spill the beans here. I have a high recommendation of what not to do. Do not go licking the underside of toilet seats in the porta potties. Because apparently that's the only place where COVID still lives.
I heard you got COVID.
I got the vid, man, and I feel like garbage.
Yeah. You're at the tail end of it, though, right?
I hope so. I got a whole bunch. It's more respiratory. Like now it's gone into the respiratory stage, so I'm going to be out of breath talking for the next hour and a half. I don't know how much I'll actually be able to do, but I have a handful of cough drops. And
Gotcha.
I tell you, it hasn't been fun, but, I'm getting some stuff done, I guess, hanging out at home.
You know what's great for the COVID? It's the fresh open air of fresh fields, plowed fields.
I've heard that, too.
Yeah.
I've heard that, so maybe
and the
I should do that.
beeping of detectors, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope you get to feeling better. I know you messaged me earlier. You're like, oh, man. Feeling like crap. But.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good. I'm happy it's Thursday, which, we've got almost to the end of the week. Another Relics Radio podcast.
Yep.
Couple great guests. Incredible live chat going on already. Holy crap.
Who do you see? Shout some people out over
Jeez. Well, right away, Digging the PNW beat me in. So did Detecting Addicts. Welcome those two.
Those guys are on it. Yeah.
I know. They got in quick. Mr. Ill Digger. Tim Blank. Yeah, Tim's in. Says, good evening, all you dirty money lovers. I saw Steve Mussman.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, Steve's a little further south of where we're at, and told him I missed him at Rush this year. He said he had prior engagement, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
we need to get down there. We need to get down south. See Steve.
Yeah, we got some stuff. Yeah, that's cool.
Jason Ware just popping in. What's up, Jason?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Hey, welcome everybody. Yep, another Relics Radio Thursday night. It is July 20th already up here. A little after 6 p.m. here in Colorado. And, weather's always up and down. It's been hot, but then we get these real big thunderstorms that come over in the evenings. And just kind of cools things off, but, man, it comes down in buckets sometimes. So,
we've had rain all day.
Yeah.
All day.
We're going to... Tonight we're talking about gold prospecting, getting out and digging, putting some color in your pan and working a bunch of dirt. And for those of you who have done it, you kind of know how much work it is. And for those of you who haven't yet and you're interested in it, you're probably going to learn a lot tonight. You're definitely going to want to hear our guests. Tony, why don't we go ahead and bring them on, and we'll get to talking about people don't want to hear us yapping on. They want to hear our guests. So let's go ahead and bring them on.
Yeah, absolutely. We are very lucky tonight to have two incredible guests with us. with incredible titles to their names here. I'm gonna make sure that I put these out here. We have the Vice President of Digstock Events, Mr. Thomas Barnes, as well as the Executive Director of Operations of the Lost Dutchman Mining Association, Mr. Dom Ricci. Guys, thank you so much for your time tonight. Welcome to Relics Radio.
Hey, guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, excellent. Hey, why don't you introduce yourselves real quick so people can get to know what the sound of your voice is and who it's tied to? Go ahead, Dom.
Well, this is Dominic with the Lost Dutchman Mining Association. A lot of people see me out there. We host all kinds of events at our properties. A lot of digging events dealing with gold panning, high bankers, dredges, so forth. A lot of fun. We're getting a lot of kids involved. And through this journey that we've been doing for the last 50 plus years, we are now connecting with Digstock and Thomas and his group, and we're looking at putting something together here real soon. And we'll be talking about that.
Excellent. Yeah, I've seen your sort of your little events that you've put together around the country. I know that a friend of mine, Stephen Lynn Patterson, was involved with some of it, and Daisy as well, at some of the events you guys have put together over the past year or two. And I'm glad to see you guys continue to do more. And hooking up with Digstock is really, really a great partnership. Thomas, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into this story, how you two met and how this collaboration came together.
All right. Yep. Well, my name's Thomas Barnes, and VP of Digstock Events. And, we put on some of the largest events all over the country, including pretty much anything outdoors as far as treasure hunting. Come to our events. This one here coming up will be 7. We got more in the works. And, you can pretty much do anything from, sometimes we'll have fossils. You can find fossils, artifacts, Native American stuff, the relics, and then now we've been able to come on and try to offer up some gold. One of our mottos is for all the hobbies you dig. And so we try to incorporate everything into that. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do a lot of gold prospecting in the past, and just, thought it would be a great way to introduce other people, especially people who's into detecting, and bring them into, looking for the gold and get to enjoy it as much as I have.
Right. That's so did you run into Dom at an event doing some gold prospecting, or did you guys kind of go out in search of him thinking it would be a good partnership? Like, how'd that all come about? I don't care which one he wants to take it.
Yeah, so actually, I think Matt had reached out and got in touch with Dom. Of course, I knew about the GPAA end of it, knew a little bit about the Lost Dutchman side, but I actually flew out and went to California and did some road tripping with Dom. Went out to the Duesenberg claim and spent the day out there and got to see some of the way that they process and do things. Of course, I've done pretty much all the different ways. I spent a month in Alaska traveling all over doing gold, but this was actually the first time I'd really done any dry washing, so that was a different experience. Still just as much gold though. That was the good thing. Panning, water's a little more scarce there, like there in kind of in California like that. But got to walk around, get to see some of the historic area, and just get to know Dom on a more personal level. Dom's a really great guy. Got a lot of enthusiasm. I like that.
Well, I'm going to back the bus up just a hair here. The question was kind of how we got together, and yeah, Matt, president of Digstock, had reached out, and he was like, "We have this huge event, and we'd like you to come teach panning." And my first reaction was, okay, who are these people? I don't really know. And I felt bad for that because I'm in my own bubble half the time. Right. And through conversation, it was like, holy crap, these guys know how to put on a party. And that's what I'm all about, is let's bring people together.
Right.
And, then they're like, oh, there's 10,000 acres. I'm like, what? So through that journey, this all started like, hey, come teach people how to pan for gold at our event. And through conversation, it's like, well, you guys need to come out this way, leave some of the treasure relic stuff behind and come play in the gold that's more prevalent this way. And so, and then like Thomas said, he flew out. We had a great day together, toured the property, and then kind of as the climax to the end of the day, it was like, well, Thomas, we've driven you around. Let's put a shovel in your hand, throw some buckets out here, and slam some dirt through a dry washer. Get some dirt up in your nostrils. Breathe that stuff.
Nice.
And then, of course, we were real nice. We let him clean up the machine. Then we made him pan, and he was a great sport about it. And
perfect.
Yeah, I'm making a little fun here, but we really did have a good day, and I think that's just how things started gelling.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
We are really, really excited for them to bring their platform to one of our properties, and up the ante of what's going on out there and getting people connected.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great partnership because what's your background, Dom, with gold prospecting and the pursuit of the shiny stuff?
Well, my story is probably not like a lot of people. I grew up in Northern California. Used to hear about gold all the time, but we never did anything. And then you leave, you go to college, you do this, you do that, and all of a sudden somebody responds to a resume like, we want you to come work for us because I do some business and marketing. And that's how I got connected with gold prospectors. But yet I never really panned a day in my life. But the one thing about Dominic is Dominic's a fast learner. And if I'm passionate about something, I'm all in. And here I am 13 years later, going out, creating events. We have so many new people coming into, I don't want to just say gold panning about gold, but, detectorists and in the hunt for what's underground. And I'm amazed at every event that we pull off, how many brand new people are just getting started. And I think that's more on our side of trying to get education and teaching people. And then you take, Digstock, where I'm not saying they're not teaching, they are, because they bring in all the manufacturers to help, but they put on one hell of a party, and I love it.
Yeah, they do. Congratulations on that too, Thomas. I know you guys really turned that into a viable business, but that's all right. It benefits the community. I mean, your events are some of the best in the United States, and people just absolutely have grown to love going to them. I haven't been to another one, unfortunately, since 2019. It's been we almost made it to North Carolina one time, but to join y'all, but it fell through. So Tony and I both need to get out to another one of your events for sure. And tonight we're going to talk about one you got coming up, the Digstock VII, which just sounds like a really cool event. And Thomas, before the show, you and I were talking, and you said there is a lot of crossover between detectorists and gold prospectors, right?
Yeah, so, I picked up a detector when I was younger, just messing around the old Radio Shack stuff, doing this here and there. But then, being in other hobbies and other things got me into more detecting. But mine kind of started out actually with gold, and spent a month in Alaska traveling all over, wound up in Nome, and, was able to do pretty much every kind of way of prospecting for gold that you can think of, except for dry washing. But that learning curve, there was a learning curve there of looking for gold with a detector. And then back before, we actually started up Digstock and everything and got more into relics, when I got back home, I started doing more of it. And there again, there was a learning curve for that. But I can see how the two cross over. And of course, there's just the joy of finding something. Some type of a treasure is always, just the top of the iceberg. And that's what's cool about it, is that our events, we like to bring people together, and not just so much all what you get with the event, but actually the atmosphere and the people that are around, and getting to meet the same people and see people and new people coming in. and everybody kind of becoming a family, which is what I have seen on the gold side. I saw that is that the circle, the community, the gold community is like that a lot too. And going to some of these claims and stuff that I did get to go to, and some of them were GPAA claims and stuff, that those people like to get together and do the same thing. I saw old timers just get together and go out on the beaches on Kenai Beach, and they just like grill hot dogs out, set up their gold cubes, and when the tide was out, and wait, get as much gold as they could. The tide come in, they hang it up and they come back in. But it was just all about getting together, having a good time. And, that's something that I really enjoy seeing people do. We try to give people an opportunity when they come to these events to get a chance to do something that they maybe never done before or they're interested in. And they get their kids into it,
Yeah, there's a lot of those similarities. Like, there's some secrecy, right? There's secrecy in the spots we detect, the permissions we have, but there's also secrecy in the claims we can get our hands on and put the claims in. And, you get invited to somebody else's claim. You want to keep that on the down low and all that stuff. But when you get away from your claims, you kind of get away from all that. There's definitely a community in both disciplines. I know that Tony, through our metal detecting club, Tony and I were both invited by the local prospectors club here in Colorado to come out and give a presentation on metal detecting. Mm-hmm. We had a blast, didn't we, Tony?
Oh my, it was incredible. And the questions coming from the group, once you kind of opened up the floodgates, one person, second person asked a question, then all of a sudden everybody's got questions about it, and it's kind of a crossover. It may not be, it could be bottle digging, it could be gold nuggets, it could be Civil War relics. We all have this passion about finding something, and I think Lost Dutchman Mining Association teaming up with Digstock, it makes sense because you guys, it just fits together. I mean, we were talking about it before we came on tonight. Like, it's just a perfect fit.
Yeah. One of the things I think about getting together is, I'm not trying to scare people out there. There's a severe virus going around right now, and a lot of people are aware, and it's called GoldVid. And GoldVid is striking people all over the place. What's happening is they're hankering to find gold. They kind of have a little gold fever. It's lack of mineral interaction, and they get the shakes. We got to get them out there hooting and hollering and fix that GoldVid. And I think, Digstock, Lost Dutchman Mining Association, I think we're the perfect medicine to help people get control of that GoldVid. That's just my viewpoint. I don't know what you guys think.
I read an article about that, the same exact thing. It was some doctor, like in, Northern California, like somewhere in Placer County, I think he was saying that exact thing. It's exactly what you guys need. And I'm telling you what, listening to you talk, I might have some of those symptoms. I might have to look further into that. No, but seriously, I mean, gold fever is a real thing, right, guys? I mean, dead on, it's a real thing. People, you've heard that term. People listening in on the replay or whatever, or listening live tonight, you've heard that term, gold fever. But boy, once that bug bites you, it's a real thing, right, guys?
It is, yeah. Go ahead, Thomas.
Well, I was just saying, when I first kind of getting into the gold, we have gold here in North Carolina too, and we have actually 3 belts to run through. But I can remember finding like really fine, basically flour gold, little specks, and you might have 5 or 6 little colors in there, and you would just to find that, you would be up at night sitting out there on a picnic table with a headlamp on. Just trying to pick these little pieces out with a snuffer bottle. And, I mean, you sit there and, after a while, you go to somewhere like Alaska and you get spoiled and you're like, I can't believe I stayed out there that bad and had the fever that bad that I was looking like that. Right. The good thing about going to Duesenberg and out with Dom is that is actually more healthy for you. It's good on the eyes. So when you go there, the gold is actually a lot bigger, so you don't strain your eyes as much as I have in the past, looking for the little small stuff. It's a lot easier to see.
Well, that's good to hear, boy. I tell you that. We like the big ones. We like those pictures, boy.
Right.
Tell you what. had a good comment in there, Tony, in the chat.
I had thrown in there. Everybody was talking about having Goldvid. Il Digger said, "That's it. I've had that Goldvid for years." And Ohio Relic Hunter, who just checked in a little bit late, he's kind of slacking. He's been late a couple weeks now.
Yeah,
he's going to have to go to detention now. But he says they make a salve for that. It's called Goldschlager.
I heard that works a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of gets rid of it.
So, hey, Thomas, when you were in Alaska, did you get a chance to do any of that Bering Sea dredging?
There you go.
I didn't do the dredging in there as far as that goes. But I did do some dredging when I was around a place called Soldotna, and we were in a little mountain creek or stream there, and I got to do some dredging in that. I've done a little bit of dredging when I was up in South Carolina, but that was it was pretty interesting. I mean, there's so much gold in Alaska, and especially in Nome. It's unbelievable. It's hard to imagine, but there was a story of how much gold was in Anvil Creek. We were there with Augie and AK, and there's a story about how the gold was so rich in that area that they could literally take a pan and scoop it down and have 100 ounces. And it's hard to fathom that, but you got to think this place had been untouched. And when you see the nuggets coming out of the tailing piles there and how big they are, this was stuff that they were throwing to the side. They were after bigger. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy. Dom, have you ever been up to Alaska?
Yeah, gold prospectors and Lost Dutchman, we had a property up there, so we used to run an expedition for 6 to 8 weeks in the summertime, and I always called it therapy. There was, kind of like that story where when you go fishing, you tell everybody you don't catch anything. Well, it was going around that when you go to Alaska, you get sick, you get what's called the crud, and you really don't want the crud. Well, some people did get sick a little bit, but most of that was said to keep people away because, kind of like Thomas said, there was a lot of gold to be found. Wow. And, we would usually have about 200 participants spread out over the weeks, and some would be on the beach of Bering Sea, with high bankers. Some would be inland. We had a big trommel operation, so a lot of fun. And I used to call that therapy for myself, or my, let me just get away from the office because high-speed internet was slower than dial-up. And it was just, I miss going up there. Going up there.
That's, it sounds like one of those dream trips, right, Tony? Like, detectors will talk about like going to England as a dream trip because every signal could be 4,000 years old.
You're in fields and you're finding stuff that's quote modern, 1700s, 1800s. And that's what you're finding over there. And you're going to get the crud over in England too.
Yeah, true. And
for detectorists,
going up to Alaska, man, it just seems like one of those dream trips for people looking for gold and prospectors that they don't always get an opportunity to, and taking advantage of some of these trips like Lost Dutchman put together. And now, Don, let me ask you, what's the connection between Lost Dutchman and GPAA? Are they similar? Are they connected in some way? Or are they completely separate?
That's a great question. So basically our founder, George Buzzard Massey, he started Gold Prospectors Association of America in 1969, 68. And it was based around claims. And he built up a big membership. Well, he wanted more. So what they then did is created the Lost Dutchman Mining Association. And the difference between the two is Lost Dutchman's owns its patented gold-bearing property. So we have 15 properties currently around the United States where all the properties are patented gold, and most of them have some kind of a campground on it. And our members, we call those our elite members, they can stay on the properties for up to 6 months before they have to move to another one if they like. I have, in the last few years, pulled about 30 additional claims that Lost Dutchman carries, which are around some of our properties, like Duesenberg. Duesenberg, the property we own is roughly 180 acres, but yet I have almost 400 additional acres, which is claimed, which is around it, which is part of why we can have a Digstock VII there. Is we have plenty of acreage to bring people out. So GPA is about claims. LDMA is we own property, and we can host all our events on our property because we own it, versus it's hard to operate a paid event on public lands. So
right.
Great question.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about Duesenberg. Kind of tell us a little bit about that. I know I read up on it a little bit. It looks like it's out on that Mojave Gold Belt, down in Southern California, right?
Yeah, we say it's in Southern California, but it's in the high desert. It's inland. It's
hot.
Randsburg.
It's hot.
Yeah, right now it's only currently about 105 out there right now as I speak, but it's beautiful. I'll
it's
tell
a dry
you,
heat.
when I first it's a dry heat. When I first started going out to Duesenberg, 12 years ago or whatever, I looked at it and I'm like, I don't like it. Kind of like the little kid that doesn't want to eat his vegetables or whatever. I don't like it. I don't like the desert. It's dry. It's ugly. And I like Northern California where the trees are. And probably my fourth trip out there, one of our members said, Dominic, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing all right. He said, isn't it beautiful out here? And I started looking around, and then this inner peace inside my chest started going, it actually is kind of beautiful out here. What I started to do is go, I have to look below the surface, not literally the surface, but I'm out in the beautiful outdoors. I'm out where gold is. I'm out with a group of people that are finding gold and are happy. I'm at peace right now. So it took me 4 trips before I actually realized that Duesenberg is a very beautiful place to be. And I think when people get out there and they start having fun, whether they're going to drive buggies all over the place, run some dirt through some of our big dry washers, or start swinging a detector on 500 plus acres, I think they're gonna come to love it as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is. You get out in that high desert, and it's. I remember one time I was flying in a small plane to Las Vegas from Northern California, and we stopped in Barstow to refuel, and I was looking around, and that warm wind was coming across the desert and hitting, and I was just like, my first thought was like, wow, this is so desolate and, dusty and hot. Why would anybody want to live here? But the longer I stayed there and looked around, it was like, yeah, there's a peacefulness here. Like, you are so removed from a lot of civilization and stuff out there. It's very primal, and you get that feeling like you're like, man, I'm in this area that not a ton of people, when you think about the entire population, have been out to areas like that, like Mojave, like Kramer, like Barstow, all those places. But I've never been up there. I've never been to Randsburg or any of that area, at least on the ground. So
here's something interesting. Like you just said, you're out in the middle of nowhere, but literally 15 miles up the road, you have a town of Ridgecrest, which is loaded with plenty of restaurants, fast food, hotels, motels. And I think they have that on the site. A lot of information where people can stay if they don't want to camp. So you are very close. And then what's really cool is the Naval Air Weapons Station, China Lake, is in Ridgecrest. So It's very frequently that we have our own, I like to say personal, but it's not, air show that happens because they do dog fights out there. And one thing that I've learned is if they're out and they know that we have a group of people, they do the afterburners. They do mock whatever the heck they do. You hear the booms, and every blue moon you'll get one that will flip upside down as it flies right across the top of the camp, and you just sit there in awe going, thank you, people. Thank you for your service. We love that you're there, but also thank you for giving us a little show. So you never know if that'll happen out there.
Very cool.
They actually flew by when I was there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, the thing about Duesenberg for me, coming from all the way on the East Coast and going all the way over there, is I've seen Arizona, I've seen Nevada, but I've never been into California and in that area. So it was a little different. And for people, we've seen a lot of people come from the West Coast to come to our events over here, and it's a whole different environment for them. They're seeing things that are different. And, it's kind of that same way to me. It's exciting to be in a different environment and see things differently. Just some of the things that I saw when I was there that kind of stood out to me is that, I got to see first, the mountains and how the ranges were formed. I think it was Peggy that was there. She's super informative, knows a lot about the history and how the gold got in there. But in that spot where we were at too, is that there's also people who like to do gems. I was walking around, Dom and them had to call me back because I got sidetracked and I was up there finding stuff. But we were finding, there was agates and there's Jasper and Chalcedony stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of, and I think there's a place there's not even far about it even has opals. So, you have that, and then you have the actual working of the mine, and you can see, where their stamp mill was, and you've got the bucket line, the dredge, whatever they had. So, you got the relics. I'm sure there's bottle dumps, hundreds of these trails that you can. That's the other thing we didn't really talk about is that, I know Dom touched on, staying in a hotel, but the good thing about this, and we've only offered this one other time for our event, is that you can camp here. So you don't have to leave. You can camp on site and bring your ATV, and there's hundreds of these trails that you can literally just ride around and explore and check out the scenery. That's a cool thing in itself.
Yeah.
That's a good vacation.
Freedom, right? Like it's, yeah. That
people
sounds really cool.
People were talking in live chat about needing a vacation. That sounds like a great spot for vacation right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially for people, like I said, that's never seen that, or been in that type of environment and want to see something different and experience a lot of things while on vacation. That'll all be there.
Speaking of seeing something different, China Lake, not too far from Area 51. Ever seen any little green men running around there, Dom?
I cannot confirm or deny. What I will tell you, though, is at night, if you go out with, one of them special black lights or whatever, you're going to see some really cool creepy crawlies. And then I have to apologize. There's a certain rock that literally just lights up like a rainbow. I do not know what the name is, but they're very common out there. A lot of times, some of the members with they just let their kids go, and it's like, leave the scorpions alone, find the rainbow rocks. And they come back, and again, in daylight it looks like it's a ugly old rock. Why'd you pick it up? But at nighttime with the right light, beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sodalite.
Cool.
That's what Ohio Relic Hunter just said in the chat. Sodalite. That's what they call it.
Thank you.
So there you go. Yeah, perfect. Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, seeing those fluorescent scorpions, they look cool, but you gotta stay away from them. There's a lot of cool stuff to see in the desert that you just don't see elsewhere, and it sounds like a really unique event for sure. Especially if you're into gold prospecting or you want to get into it and have this adventure of going into the middle of a place like that in a high desert. Digstock VII. I tell you what, you can find it on their website over at Digstock Events. Tony, I'll have him throw the link into the chat, but you can find it right below in the description of this podcast. Both links to Digstock Events, Digstock VII specific event, and also to the Lost Dutchman Mining Association. So you can go over there and check them out and see what they're all about. You guys got camps all over the place. You got Burnt River, you got Blue Bucket, you got in Oregon, you got Scott River in California, Stanton in Arizona. What else you got? View. I even saw you guys may have a camp here in Leadville, Colorado, not too far from Tony and I.
We do. The interesting thing about that is it's unmanned. It's at roughly, was it like 11,000 feet? So when people go there first, you have to realize that the snow melts, and you guys could help me, like maybe August, and then it comes back in like October. So there's a short window, but that property is so beautiful, but you have to adjust yourself because the thin air. And a couple of friends of mine were up there checking it out, and these are two guys that could go all day long shoveling dirt into a machine. They said they would work about 30 minutes and sit down for about 30 minutes, just because of the thin air. So great property. They definitely found some gold, very picturesque with the pictures that they supplied. We did an article in the Gold Prospector magazine, probably about 2 or 3 years ago. But we have Leadville, we have North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, multiple camps in California, and then of course our biggest flagship is the one there in Stanton, Arizona. And we're going to see how Duesenberg goes, and then I might have to work on twisting Thomas's arm a little bit to get him out to Arizona again.
Yep.
Sounds good. Well, you know what the secret is to doing an event here in Leadville? You got to get a couple of locals, hint, that are used to that type of
used to
elevation.
the altitude.
Guys that maybe have a podcast and YouTube channels and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you need to come on out and get some of those guys to go up there.
Maybe even detected in Leadville, been to the bottle dump in Leadville, those kind of different things.
Forrest Finn's gold in Leadville.
Yeah, see, all those kinds of I'm sure there's some people out there like that.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will call in. I don't know. We'll find out.
Anybody out there know anybody in Colorado, make sure you drop it in the chat or send me an email. That'd be great.
Hey,
we had a chat come in, didn't we?
Yeah, quick question, question over in the chat from X Marks the Spot. Good to see Mark back over in the chat. It's been a little bit. But asking about Duesenberg, what about Jeeps? He says, yeah, I have an ATV, but I also have a built Jeep. You guys, are they allowed to, there are trails for Jeeps out there, or just ATVs?
Absolutely. What you'll see out there is there'll be people on dirt bikes, ATVs, UTVs, those big $100,000 buggies rolling around, and Jeeps. Every blue moon you'll see a truck, and they have a lot of fun out there.
Nice.
What do they call those giant, like, sail wheeled, are they sand rails or wind sail rails? I think they call them. You ever seen those things out there? Yeah.
I haven't seen them near our property. It's more where it's more sandy, kind of like Palm Springs, I think.
Gotcha.
At least I haven't seen them around where we're at, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like windsurfing on sand, the giant wheels, like on a skateboard type of thing, right?
I think China Lake calls them targets.
moving targets.
Nice.
I was telling you a story earlier when we flew to Vegas and we stopped into Barstow. When we came out of Barstow, I wasn't flying; I was a passenger, and the first time I'd ever flown in a small plane. And the pilot was like, "Yeah, we're coming up to restricted airspace. You see that line on the radar? Yeah, we got to stay there, and we got to go around the corner." And I go, well, "What would happen if you just cut across that corner?" He's like, "No," he said, "they're doing strafing runs and bombing runs out here and all kinds of stuff. You just definitely never want to do that." So it was interesting. I was looking around trying to see if I could look down and see any bombing runs happening, but fortunately we didn't. Very cool.
No, I think Thomas had mentioned Peggy, who's our caretaker out there. She loves talking about the history. What everybody has to realize is whenever you go anywhere, what you see is not what was, if that makes sense. So, you have, plates that have shifted, thousands of years ago, and things have changed. So Peggy loves to talk about it because there's people that'll go, "I'd go dig over there," or "I'd go metal detect over there." And she'll tell you, "Have fun. You're going to waste your time." And it's not that she's trying to keep you out of there. She's really trying to help you to not waste your time. And we've done that with the digging operation that we have out there. There's gold within inches of the top of the surface. When I say we're digging, we have a backhoe. we're punching down about 30 feet to where there was an ancient riverbed, and we're getting really big gold down there. And that's what we process through a lot of our, dirt digging events. And we will have that open if people want to try that. We have 2-star guests. One's Bertha and one's Bert, and those are both 4-banker dry washers. When Thomas was out there, he got the individual service dry washer. Well, these are big ones that we actually could feed with a backhoe, but we'll make people work a little bit harder for it, and they'll love being able to process and see how that genre of prospecting goes versus walking and swinging a detector. But hopefully everybody tries everything.
There's lots to do out there.
Yeah, there's so much on this property compared to a lot of the other ones, that we've had, as far as, the things you can do, find. And then, I don't know if Dom even mentioned, but there's, the historic gold mining town that's right down the road kind of too. So, there's a lot of stuff to go and see, other things to do, so that, people that would maybe come out there and want to spend a week or more, they got lots of other things to do in that area.
There are, and the interesting thing what Thomas is talking about is Randsburg. It's this little old gold mining town. The true history of that town was.
Let's wait and see if we get people over here just to see if they think it sounds good. Yeah, if you're just joining us, if I don't erase this later when I do the edit, we had a power failure at my house where the studio is at, and I just absolutely zapped everything. So I had to wait for everything to come back up. So I apologize about that for sure. I think it's the guys from China Lake. I think they were listening in, and they're like, pull the plug on that show. They're starting to give out too much information about the desert.
Well, the funny thing was, I was talking about Randsburg and how it was actually titled the original Sin City of Las Vegas.
Oh.
And then somebody way over in Las Vegas said, no, we're going to make this the real Las Vegas.
That's right.
And it bloomed into what it is. So I think maybe somebody got upset about Las Vegas there.
Why is it like it was just the original, the original location in that high desert?
Let's not say the official location for that, but what it was, when you went to Las Vegas in the original days in the middle of the desert, you were drinking, you were looking for companionship, and you were drinking. And maybe, let your horses rest for a little bit. And that's what that town was. And then all of a sudden, Nevada sparked up and took charge, and now we see an amazing city over there. Mm-hmm. But the true historians know that's what Randsburg was, the original, in theory, Las Vegas.
Mm. That's pretty interesting. Like I wouldn't have thought that, out in that area, but pretty cool.
If you drive through it and you see it, you would probably go, really? In true story, there is a sign on the fire station in Randsburg that says, honk or yell loud, we may be in the back at a barbecue.
That's my kind of place, man.
True framed picture or, sign in the front of the firehouse.
Yeah. That's my kind of place.
You gotta love those little towns.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really do. Right. Hey, do we still have you, Thomas? Did you make it back on?
Yep. I'm here.
All right, cool. Sorry about that, guys. So Digstock VII, that's coming up in October, right? This event we've been talking about since the show started is Digstock VII, and it's coming up in October, right?
20th to the 22nd. Yep.
Yeah, 20th to the 22nd. But that's not your next event, right? You got another event coming up in August. You guys are always putting on events. Like, how many events you guys running this year alone in 2023?
Right now, let's see. We've had 1, 2, let's be 3, 4. We're looking at doing. We're at probably about 4. We're coming up on 4 now, and we'll probably possibly try to work in 1 or 2 more.
Wow.
We're in the works. We got some stuff coming. We just can't quite announce it yet, but it's something in the works.
Good.
I laugh because Tony and we just got done with our local National Open detecting event here in Colorado, Rush to the Rockies 2023, and Digstock. You guys were a big part of helping to sponsor that hunt. And Tony, can you even imagine trying to put on 4 or 5
it took
of those events
a year to get one done for us.
Yeah.
Amateurs, I tell you what.
You guys must have a lot of good people around you.
Yeah, Digstock are professionals. They're good guys.
Well, we're always, we say this all the time, of course, we always run into hiccups here and there, but, we're just like everybody else. It's just people who loved the hobby, love getting out, finding things, and want to offer something for other people to be able to do it or get a chance to do something that they might not normally get to do. And, with that being said, we just like bringing everybody together. People get to see some of the same faces. They get to meet new ones. And, we're going to continue to keep doing what we're doing and strive to get better and better every time. There again, we always take a lot of feedback from everybody else, especially when it's, it's good, positive feedback. And just try to improve the best we can. The Duesenberg coming up, just to touch off on a few things real quick, it's going to be, very similar to some of our other events that we've had. We're working on a food truck, having that on site again. So some door prizes and giveaways. I think we got Garrett. We know that we'll be giving away an Axiom. And in Mine Lab, we'll have a Nox 900 and a Gold Monster.
Sweet.
So, then on top of that, like Dom said, with us being able to collaborate with each other, he'll be able to, on their end too, they'll be also, help people that's getting into or want to know more about gold, and being able to do classes and the dry washing and how to pan, and all that stuff. So, like I said, it's a really good collaboration and a good property to be able to do all these things and offer it to everybody at a good price.
Yeah. Sounds like I was reading through the website that you guys can find over there at digstockevents.com. You just head on over there and look for events and click over there to Digstock VII. You find all kinds of information. What I want to ask you guys, and I don't care which one of y'all take this, but explain dry washing to our listening audience. So Tony and I are both prospectors, but we're very recreational, and we are basically just sluicing and panning, running buckets through a sluice in a river somewhere, doing some crevicing maybe. Explain dry washing.
You want me to take this one, Thomas?
Yes, sir. You take that one.
Yeah.
That was a good punt.
Well, dry washing, you have to think about the desert first and go, is there a water source? Yes, we do have some water out there, but it's not like you're in a creek and you could put a 3-inch pump in the water and feed your high banker or something. So what you're doing is it's the same concept, except there's a blower on the bottom of the sluice box, and it's going to be offset, so it's vibrating and blowing at the same time. So you're going to feed dirt into the hopper. It's going to work its way down, and it's literally going to be dirt going over the riffles, and it's going to look just like water the way that it's just going to shimmy on down. And what's happening, though, is this fan is going to be blowing up to blow the light, which is the dirt, down its way, and then the riffles. A lot of times when people are used to using a regular high banker, they'll go, Dominic, the riffles are in backwards. Well, in a dry washer, they go the opposite way so that gold comes down and gets locked in versus water that's going to push it up and underneath to hold. So I will tell you, even certain manufacturers will say, we get better than that. A good dry washer is going to capture 70, 75, 80% of the gold. You're going to absolutely have some loss, but you're going to sit there and go, I'm catching gold. Do you really want to scoop up all that tailings that you've done and bring it somewhere where you do have water to do a lot more work to try to get another 10% out of it? It's not worth it.
Right. Interesting.
But so it's very dusty. You always want to be conscious of where the wind is. There's a high technical term. that when you're done dry washing and you go take your shower, you're going to have some snot rockets. It's just going to happen. Even if you put, we'll encourage people to put, a face mask on, not the gold vid face mask,
right?
Just a regular face mask, to try to keep a lot of the dust out to make it easier for you breathing. But, out at Duesenberg, like I said, the gold is inches below the surface, and usually in a lot of the areas, there's a caliche, which is kind of like a cement that's formed, and normally it's maybe about a foot down in most of the areas that we're working in, and that cement means gold doesn't penetrate it. So as you're scooping up dirt and putting it in the dry washer, when you hit that caliche, you usually want to get like a whisk brush or a shop vac and suck it up, because literally most of the gold is sitting right on top of that caliche because it can't go anywhere.
Right.
So when you see, people with generators and shop vacs out in the middle of the desert, they're going to get more gold than if you don't have something like that.
Right, because gold's one of the heaviest minerals. They'll just drop right down to the lowest part until it can no longer drop down further, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And some people will go, well, there was gold before that caliche got there. There could be, but for the work and effort that you're going to do to break through something, like with a pipe iron or whatever, you can be getting more gold by continuing your journey on top of and working away from your source. Otherwise, like us, we'll come in with a backhoe and punch through it and go down and test until we hit the next level of either caliche or actual bedrock.
Yeah,
which is really where we're after.
How deep is the bedrock out there? I know out here it can be pretty deep in Colorado.
Yeah.
Where we're digging in this ancient riverbed, the real bedrock, which we haven't hit, is basically about 30 feet down. But I can tell you we've punched through a couple layers of caliche as we've worked our way down. And then the next thing is following trails, because we're constantly testing. Because what I find is a lot of people will keep digging and digging, and they're excited because, they're working on their gold vid, and they're excited, and the gold fever's in there. And at the end of the day, they're like, God, I worked a lot, and I really didn't get much. They dug the wrong direction. You're constantly wanting to test.
Sample, right.
And it to me, it's no different than if you're metal detecting and you find a target, whatever the target was, whether it's, gold, a coin, or whatever. Don't you still put the coil back in that hole to make sure that there was nothing else down there? Because I've watched too many people go back over holes and find more gold than the person that took the first picker out of it.
Yeah.
So, I think people just get really excited at that time.
And where does the caliche come from again? Did you explain that?
In simple terms, I call it like a cement. What happens, there's clays and different other minerals that are in the ground, and then as it got wet, it just forms together. And caliche could be inches thick, it could be a foot thick, just depending on the terrain and how, like out at Duesenberg, you'll see, all these tributaries where, water kind of comes down the mountain. Tributary, let's just call it the, not the valley, but, the path of the water. Mm-hmm. And when it does rain or whatever, and the moisture hits underneath, however that moisture and water is moving is going to start forming that caliche.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So when I was reading, Thomas, when I was reading on the your website for the event, you talked about there's areas out there also if people want to go look for precious gems like agates and Jasper and Chalcedony and Opal, Geodesic. They can all be found on the same property, right?
Yeah, well, I saw the Jaspers, and I know the agates and stuff. I saw that there, Chalcedony. I saw all that myself. Opals, I believe that there's an opal place, and that's Dom. I think that's close by that has opals. I don't know about as far as.
Let me correct you, Thomas, because here's something exciting. So I did tell Thomas there was opals, probably about 30 minutes away. Well, one of the new claims that we've added on to part of our property is loaded with California opal. So that's something that has just been uncovered in the last couple of weeks. A couple of our people that we work with, our members, members of the Lost Dutchman and the Gold Prospectors Association of America, they're awesome. They're amazing volunteers that if you give them purpose and they want to help. So we had some people, hey, we need to test this new area over here, and they came back with, I'm going to just say, some rocks, and then they were identified as California opal, and they're beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I think Peggy might have put some pictures on the Duesenberg Facebook page, but I told her, I said, lay low on that until we want Digstock people to know that it's there. So this is a perfect platform. Thank you, guys. California opal is sitting at Duesenberg right now.
There you go.
Nice.
Exclusive.
Yeah, so I mean, just for those people that are rock hounds, that, like I said, I got carried away just picking up the agates and the Jasper because I was sitting there looking at material that I could take back on a plane and flint nap when I got back home. Like
right.
And I asked, I think I did ask too about as far as like Native American stuff, and I think there has been some stuff found. Points that stuff that might have been worked. So there, of course, there's a chance there. I'm not saying it's loaded, but there's a chance of finding that stuff. But the material for it is definitely there.
Yeah, I mean, and Jasper can be really beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful stone. And that's another hole I could fall down, right? Tony and I always talk about going down the rabbit's hole. And we do it with our research on metal detecting locations. We do it on genealogy. We do it on anything we get into like that, where we're learning things as we're researching, getting into gems and being a rock hound. We're not too far from Estes Park. I'm not too far from Estes Park here in the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. And they're really big on gems up there and rock hounding. And that's just another hobby I think I could really get into.
Yep. We don't need another hobby.
Yep, and then of course you got relics. Like I said, it's not just metal detecting for gold. And pickers and nuggets and stuff. There's relics there from the old workings and the mine. I saw bottles there inside the place. So there's old bottle dumps, in places. And what's good about it, I didn't even mention to start with, but now I bring it up, we're going to do our interactive map like we do for everything. So we're going to help try to eliminate some of the guesswork and make a few spots easier for people to find, Then, of course, there'll always be places that haven't been found yet.
Right. And how exciting would that be for a new discovery like that? That's always great.
Yeah,
that's why they call it prospecting, right? That's why they call it prospecting, because you're out there, you're trying to find it, you're trying to see it, and doing a lot of sampling, like you talked about, Dom, is very important because you want to, even when you're on a river, and you're trying to see the way maybe the gold flowed in the river, and then you want to kind of do some prospecting, kind of see where things are at, because you don't want to waste your time when you can do a little, testing and planning to know where you're going to, because gold prospecting, digging up rock, dry washing, all that stuff, it's hard work, isn't it, guys? I mean, it's not as easy, I think, as swinging a metal detector, but it's quite tough.
Oh yeah,
it is. Yep. But the reward's there, of seeing that gold.
It's
definitely there.
That's a huge reward.
We do a lot of different, smaller events throughout the year, and there's people that'll go, Dominic, you're at an event. How come you disappear for certain parts of the event? Well, some people will say, well, I don't like you. I just need to get away. The truth is, I go with a couple of people, and we're actually prospecting for where we may want to dig for the next event. So we're always polling, we're always working to the future, even though there's an existing event going on. And so that's one of the things that I do. But, if you're not testing when it comes to prospecting, you're going to waste a lot of time. I get sad when I see people work so hard that want to get in and they want to find that first piece of gold. And they're working hard. They're doing everything right, except they didn't do their homework of maybe test a little here, test a little there, and until you learn some geology, until you're actually on a gold source instead of just digging in your own backyard, assuming, well, there's dirt, there has to be gold.
Absolutely.
Yep. Right. Hey, I want to let everyone know we're getting ready to open up the phone lines. I've just opened them up feel free to call the show. I just put the number and in the chat. But if you're listening live, even if you're not joining us in the chat, you want to come call in and talk to Dom or talk to Thomas, give us a call. Phone number, get ready to write it down, 270-495-0315. Go ahead and call that number, and we'll pick up on you and put you on the show. You can ask your questions. We'd love to hear from you, for sure.
Hey, before Denny calls in, because he always calls in. No, we had a good question over in the chat. Digging the PNW asked, have you ever found Spanish activity over in that area? Relics or, that kind of stuff?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
So nothing has been brought to my attention. It's a great question for Peggy, our caretaker, and probably the easiest thing that you could do is if somebody really wants to know, just email duesenberg@lostdutchmans.com, and Peggy will respond to them.
Wonderful.
Yep. Yeah, great. Thomas, I heard you're probably going to do a seated event over there.
I was just getting ready to hit on that. I was going to ask Dom, how's that seated bed coming along?
Well, with the lack of water in summertime, here's the thing is, I love this about Digstock Events, and both Thomas and Matt, is when we were deciding on doing this, I said, okay, well, Lost Dutchman's going to throw up some gold nuggets as some prizes for different things. And I think Matt's response was, well, if you're doing it, we're doing it too. And I'm like, oh, bitch. So now we have a bigger garden. But I will say, I'm not really that worried about this. There are some special targets that will be planted within the next week or so, which will represent things for Digstock, which will turn into a gold nugget if they're found. My belief is if I go out during the event and I dig something and I put a target, a couple inches down or whatever, you may see that the dirt has been moved. So we're planting the garden here in the next week with a whole bunch of targets. So by the time Digstock comes, maybe there's been a little rain, maybe not. The wind's blown dirt. That dirt's going to pack down, and you're not going to know where we put these special targets. So
right.
The gold garden is being planted in the next week.
Oh, I like the sound of that. The gold. Ever?
No, but I do have a couple questions for these guys, though.
Go for it.
Sure. Yeah, I got a cousin. He lives in Northern California, over by Patola, which is in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. You're probably familiar with it.
Yeah.
And he's got a claim out there, and so, and he does all right along the claim. And he took me up there. That's kind of a neat country out there, And he sluices a lot, and he has a lot of, I'm not overly familiar with it, but he does dredging too, a little bit. But he dives too. So do you guys ever do that? Like he dives under the water and with a suction and that?
We do not at Duesenberg because lack of water, but at some of our other properties, diving or dredging, sniping, we can do that. Most of our other properties will be very easy to have sluices in the water, otherwise high bankers or whatever other contraption you'd like, rocker boxes. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So anyway, he does that up there. But then, of course, like you said, he's got the water by the creek there. He's got the water by his claim there. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, maybe some high banking, maybe. It's a lot of fun, man. I'll tell you, I would love to do some dredging, some underwater dredging sometime. I've seen the setups for it. But like I said, Tony and I, we haven't done anything like that. We haven't done any high banking. We haven't done any dredging. And haven't done any dry washing. We have a lot of tailing piles here in Colorado in the mining districts. And I've never hit those yet either. I've always, wanted to kind of learn more about how to go about doing it. We got a guy in our club, in our metal detecting club, the Eureka Treasure Hunters Club. He's huge on it, man. He's gone numerous times, knows everything there is to know about it. And, Tony and I, last summer, I think, had an opportunity maybe to hook up with some guys that owned a bunch of commercial claims up there. Mm-hmm. And so we might have an in to be able to go say, hey, let us go hit some of your tailing piles. Would you mind? And see if we can get permission. But it's just something that I've always had a desire to do. I've just never done it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, when they say gold is where you find it, you're going to find it still in those tailing piles, because like we talked about earlier, they took a lot of the big gold. They're not getting a lot of the small gold, and small gold adds up.
Yeah. And we'll have we'll be doing prizes and games and prizes. So, we could probably fill up a tub or something. We can do bobbing for gold nuggets or something.
Bobbing for gold nuggets.
I'll be up for that. Shoot. Gold is soft.
I can hold my breath for a long time, boys.
If I could say this about Digstock and prizes, because Thomas said that, when I showed up at the first Digstock this past March, and I saw all these 8-foot tables just down this huge circus tent and around and back up, and you saw all the prizes on there, and then all the swag and stuff that manufacturers were donating and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to use the words on the air here, but I'm just like, holy crap! How did these guys get all that stuff? And then when they start giving it away, and all these people coming there, what a beautiful thing. So, good thing is 500 plus acres out at Ridgecrest, at our property there at Duesenberg. There's a lot of room for prizes, right, Thomas?
Oh yes, yep. And people who like the train watch, we didn't even mention that the train comes right by there.
Oh wow!
Exactly. Well, I think this is safe because Thomas, you're on the air. I'm on the air. Your compadre's not there, but isn't he the one that's going to have to tote all the prizes there?
That's what I heard.
Sure.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, we voted on it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
He's the one.
Yeah. Sorry,
Isn't it
Matt,
great when manufacturers... Sorry, isn't it great when manufacturers step up to support this community? I know, having just experienced our Rush to the Rockies event, it was pretty insane. Copper Joe was there. Copper Joe, pretty crazy how many prizes and stuff we had to give out, right?
Yeah, it was a good event. Had a great time out there. Met some nice guys. One guy found a gold coin, back in Wyoming. I don't know that guy. But anyway, he made me a little jealous. I'm still thinking about it. Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. But, one of these days that gold coin's going to come my way. One of these Joe's going to dig one out. But,
see that, Dom? Everyone likes seeing the gold in the dirt, man, no matter where they find it. Find it with a metal detector, old soldier's coin, it doesn't matter. If it's gold and it's in dirt, we like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Otherwise, I'm going to have to go visit Lloyd in Kentucky because I heard some guy dug like 1,800 gold coins.
Yeah, did you see that news article that went around?
Just unbelievable.
Absolutely crazy. That was a great story. That was
gold
a great
found
story.
Everywhere.
Hey, real quick, I want to say hello to Amber White in the chat. Amber, good to see her. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. She had a question, right, Tony?
Yep. Amber wanted to know if you're going to have any manufacturers actually at the event, like on site.
Yes, that's the plan, to have some of them there. There'll probably be some more that'll be coming on board also. But Mine Lab, maybe Garrett, and we're waiting to hear from a few other ones. And we'll be announcing it, putting it probably up on Digstock Talk or the website, letting everybody know exactly who'll be there.
Yeah, Garrett, and you say Garrett's doing that big giveaway for the Axiom, right?
Yep, and then Mine Lab will be doing they'll be doing a Nox 900 and a Gold Monster. So
there you go.
Great support there, I tell you. That Axiom. Have you swung the Axiom yet, Tony?
No, I would love to.
Me too. I'd love to get my hands on that and check that out for sure. Any other questions, Joe? Go ahead. Sorry, Don.
No, except for just these guys. It's interesting. Yeah. Like I said, my cousin's in Northern California, and when he dredges and stuff, he finds other stuff too. Relics and stuff. He found some German coins that came through the sluice box. When you're under, it's just weird, but it happens. And
yep.
He does quite well with it. It's kind of different out there. Because we were there's an area where it was just heavily mined. And he explained the difference between what he was saying was like the Chinese miners and the American miners. Like the Chinese, when they mined, they kept everything so precise. They stacked the rocks so precise. Where the European miners came and they just left everything hodgepodge. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. The history of mining is incredibly interesting. I know here in Colorado, it's a big part of our heritage here, and big part of the culture is the mining districts here. I mean, out here in Colorado, they absolutely destroyed the place, but doing
turned over everything.
mining operations. But it is interesting to see the different techniques and the different attitudes people had towards it, especially in places like you talked about, Joe, in Northern California, where I'm from there too, and it's just those Sierra Nevadas give up a lot of gold as well, and have over the years. And it's a lot of fun being in the rivers there for sure. So, hey, thanks for your call, Joe. It was good talking to you, and we appreciated meeting you at the event. Say hello to the wife for us for sure.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah,
Take
we
care,
will.
bud.
Okay, we'll talk to you a little later, buddy. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah, and before Joe came on, we were talking about people listening in, and the live listener, we don't know how many are listening right now. I'll know later when the results come in, Thomas, but we have probably 15, 20 in the chat right now, and it's pretty typical. That's what we get, about 15, 20 people in the chat, and what usually comes up is about 50 to 60 people listening live out there to the live broadcast, but then a lot more listening in the coming weeks for sure.
Okay. Well,
yep.
I'll leave it to you guys, and we can do it however you want to. But Dom, what do you think about? Let's give them a ticket to the event.
Oh, whoa,
hey,
whoa!
That would be like we're contributing to Goldvid, and I'm concerned. But you know what, Thomas? If you say it, I'll back you behind it. Let's do it.
Wow,
that's amazing.
Well, they got to sign a waiver anyway, so.
That's right. What Matt doesn't know doesn't hurt him, right?
That's right.
Hold on. Let me think about this now. Let me think about this. How should we do this, Tony? Do you want to do... let me see. Do you want to pick a number on our Google Docs thing? Do you want to give it out now? Do you want to let people later drop comments in, and we'll pick it later in the week, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah,
we can do it either way.
Yeah.
Because Tony and I now are on. Yeah. Everyone's already dropping numbers in the chat. Hold on, guys. Just don't get so carried away over there. So Tony and I.
You got some interest here.
There's definitely people interested. So why don't we do that? Why don't we give more people an opportunity to get involved in it?
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Why don't we pick a number range? Tony, you and I right now on our Google's Docs, we'll kind of pick a number between, what do you want to say, 1 and 200 maybe?
Yeah,
and no one in the chat
put
it down right now. Don't put it down right now. You can enter it in later after the show's over. But is that a good range, do you think? And then when we go back through, we'll just either do a random picker or do the first one that we see that did the number over the, we'll pick a date.
Let's do a random picker.
Okay.
I think it's going to be more fair because,
all right.
People putting in numbers. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have 65,000 comments on one video. So
let's do this. I got an idea. Like, if you're listening to the show, what we'll do is we're going to give you 2 weeks. We're going to give you 2 weeks. So this is the 20th right now. Or maybe a week. Why don't we give people to the 28th? That's next Friday. Okay. And I'll put this on the Facebook group as well.
And we can make an announcement on next week's show as well to go back and make a comment.
Right. Yep.
So let's do the 28th
So why
Friday.
don't we do that, guys? Yep. And here's what you do. You're going to put one word in the comment section. You're going to put the word gold. And everyone that puts just one word that says gold in the comment section, we'll pull their name out, put them on a list, do a random comment picker, and that'll be the winner. And then we will talk about it. So I'll come up with the restrictions there. Maybe we'll do it so that we announce the winner on next week's show. So maybe we'll make it from this week to next Thursday or something like that. And we'll make all the announcements so people are listening. So if you're listening to the show on replay, we see your numbers. We know you're out there. We appreciate it. So reach down below in the comment section and type the word gold for your opportunity to win a ticket to Digstock VII out in Southern California with Dom from the Lost Dutchman Mining Association, Thomas with Digstock Events, and all the other people out there with Goldvid suffering right along with you. That's amazing, guys. That is an amazing offer for our listening audience, for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure I tell folks, we always say this, if they're interested, and want to get a ticket, we always encourage everybody to go ahead and get them, because you won't believe the amount of people that we get in emails of people wanting after it's sold out. And our hands are tied. There's not so much. We do sometimes do an alternate list, but it all just depends. So, if people are thinking about it, we encourage you to go ahead and get it, so that they all don't get gone and then you miss out.
Right. That is a great opportunity. So Tony's putting links in the chat. He's also putting some stuff. You must have gold, one word only, gold, typed into the comment section down below this podcast by July 27th, 2023, which is next Thursday.
You'll say Thursday morning at midnight. That way we've got time to get that done on next Thursday for a live reveal.
And only type it once, because we will go through and remove duplicates. So typing it more than once is not going to get you an advantage for sure. But if you're interested and you really want to go, really, only if you think you really would like to go, we would love to have you enter gold into that contest. Maybe you'll be the lucky winner. We'll pass your information along to Dominic and Thomas here, and I'm sure they'd love to see you in that high desert.
That'd be great. Wow.
Can podcast hosts enter?
And their families?
Tony and I just was typing, we said before the show, guys, that Tony and I are typing on a Google Doc sheet so we can communicate. Plus, we're on a video feed with each other, too, so we can see each other. But I was like, I wonder if we could do a live broadcast from the high desert in October. I wonder if our one bar of cell phone service will allow us to serve out our podcast.
We did it up in the mountains at Rush to the Rockies. Why can't we do it, in the middle of a desert too?
We'll have to think about that, man. I would love to go. It sounds like so much fun.
Let me help you a little bit. Just so you know, there is amazing cell service at Duesenberg.
Really?
There we go. Perfect.
Seriously, they have installed 5G, in the towers around there. I work off of Verizon. I know people with AT&T and T-Mobile, and everybody has said great service.
There you go, Tony. We're broadcasting live.
All right. How is he going to communicate with the aliens?
That's true. You can't do it on dial-up.
Right, that's true.
I was going to throw this out.
Yeah.
If anybody really wants to know what the terrain around Duesenberg looks like, if anybody has a Gold Prospectors magazine, the March, April of this year, or the May, June, the back cover, which is Garrett always takes the back cover. There's a picture of the Axiom. It's the same picture, and Rusty from Garrett. He works in customer service. He does everything. He was out with me, and this is when they were actually testing the Axiom and doing the final tweaks to it. So he's out there having a good time, and I can tell you that the Axiom does find gold.
Yeah, speaking of when KG and Ringy were up in Alaska testing that out for Garrett, Tim Ildigger was up there with them, and he was mentioning in the live chat that he got to swing that, and he said it's a very, very good machine. Finds gold.
It sure does. It sure does.
Yeah, I've got the fever coming, man. I'm itching now. I need to get out.
I know.
With this hot weather we've been having and stuff, I need to get back out in the river for sure. Hey, Thomas, here's a question for you. People are asking in the chat. Actually, Amber White asked in the chat. So if she was to go, let's say she goes tomorrow and buys her ticket. Mm-hmm. And then she happens to be the lucky winner of the draw we're doing by next Thursday.
Right.
Could she get her money back for having the free entry?
Yes,
no, she should not. She should give a ticket to somebody else that, pay it forward thing. Sorry, Thomas, just needed to jump in.
Yeah, that's fine. That's excellent, actually, yes.
Right. If she had said, what if I don't win and then I want to buy it and then it's sold out and it's too late? Then she loses out if she's going to try to wait around.
She really wants to go.
Sounds like she does. That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you do. I tell you what, I'd love to go. It sounds One, it'd be kind of like getting back home, back in that California area, even though I didn't really live in the desert, high desert, but just being back there again sounds great. And then doing something I love and something different. Like we don't do gold prospecting all the time. It's something we just kind of pick at here and there. Got all the gear stored in the garage, but pull it out once a year maybe and go out and do it maybe twice a year. But would love to go to this event.
Well, the cool thing, like I said, that I saw that I liked on this and this property, that to me is being able to go and camp there, because, you know, you can pull a camper up there, sleep in the back of your bed, your truck. I mean, you know, whatever, set up a tent, but you know, you can get with your buddies or whatever and just go out and have a good time during the day, camp out at night, you know, have a good time and just, you know, enjoy everything there. And I'm sure the sky is just beautiful at nighttime. That's pretty cool, being able to camp on site like this.
Right. You want to talk about dark? You get out there.
I bet it's dark.
Sun goes down, man. It's beautiful.
That's the best kind of camping, though.
Yeah.
You have the most picturesque skies out there. There's a lot of red in the sky, both when the sun's coming up and going down. Just that goes back to that. It took me four visits out there before I found that peace and beauty, because I had to stop just thinking about the dirt and no water and no trees. But I think once you're out there, you're going to love it, whether you get in your buggy and you cruise on the trails. And I don't just mean the trails that are on our 500 acres of property and claims. I mean, these are our true trail rides. I think maybe let's just tell everybody, don't listen. I'm just going to have a private conversation with Thomas real quick. Thomas, we should put together a poker run for the people that want to do the ATVs or whatever. That way there can be some other prizes with that. You think about it. Let me know if you want to do that. Now we'll open it back up. Okay, everybody's back online now.
We won't tell anybody. We won't tell you about that. We'll let you surprise them with that. Oh, what a great idea, though, I'll tell you. So, hey, quick advertisement for the event real quick. I'll just read this off to you. Digstock VII. Boy, something different, huh, from these guys? Amazing. Joining up with the Lost Dutchman Mining Association to bring you Digstock VII. It's held on 500 acres, historic gold-bearing property in California. There's going to be classes on how to dry wash, pan, metal detect, all this stuff looking for gold, how to process material into gold. Like, gold runs in rocks. It runs in all kinds of different rocks, so you can crush that out and find the gold in the rocks. Precious gems, agates, Jasper, all kinds of stuff. There's even a historic turn of the century stamp mill out there for getting gold from quartz, and that's usually where you see gold, is in those quartz. There's a seated event. There's just hundreds of miles for your ATV to go camping, like they were talking about. Door prizes, food trucks. Kids are 12 and under are free, so bring your whole family. That's definitely a bonus for sure, because people are going to turn this into a vacation. I'm sure of it. Bring your RV out there. Tony, we had another question come into the chat, didn't we?
Yeah, trying to get people out there. I mean, I looked up. We're 14 and a half hours driving from Colorado. So, but if somebody wanted to fly there, what's the closest airport?
Great question. I'll tell you, Ontario Airport is roughly about 55 minutes away. LAX, if you really want to battle that one, you're, depending on what time of day, you're hour and 15 to 2 hours away.
Okay.
Good.
That was a good question.
Yeah, that was a good question. Somebody wants to swing by and pick us up on the way through, with your RV. Tony and I will be gracious hosts or co-hosts. We'll be good riders. We'll mix the drinks in the blender.
Ooh.
We'll do all that stuff.
If I would get enough campers out there, I think Dom would like to do s'mores.
S'mores.
as long as they don't, park in the Gold Garden.
Oh my gosh,
that's
the Gold Garden.
I know he's that word again. I know
that word again. I'm gonna be thinking about that tonight. I'm gonna be like, Gold Garden. That just sounds so good. Well, hey guys, listen, thanks so much for joining us here on Relics Radio. I know that it's been a fun hour and a half. We've learned a lot. We've chuckled a bit and talked a lot about this event. Sounds great. The fact that you two hooked up is probably, I know it's going to be a huge success, and I'm looking forward to more and more events coming your way. And a thought hit me, Tony, as we were doing all this. We've been doing a lot of talk of our Rush to the Rockies events here, and how much work we've done with it. Just a little, nonprofit metal detecting club organization. We should save our money and then hire these guys to do Rush to the Rockies 2024 next year and turn it into, we got to talk about it. We got to find somebody with some money.
$1 million.
$1 million.
Did I mention we're nonprofit? Well, man, that would be great, though, boy. I tell you what, we could do it in Leadville. That'd be awesome. No, but thanks, guys. It's been a fun night. We appreciate you guys coming out. I'll let you each say your goodbyes, and then, like we said before the show, we'll say our goodbyes off the air. But I'll give you each your kind of last words here as we say goodbye and work our way out of the show.
All right, I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead,
Dominic with Lost Dutchman. Goldvid is real, people. Be serious about this. You need to help yourself get out to the gold fields and help your Goldvid. It's real. We're concerned about you, but bring as many people with you. You know what? Quite honestly, guys, it's a great time to be outdoors. It's great whether you're swinging a detector or digging with a shovel. I kind of say it this way. You can come to a Lost Dutchman gold mine camp, and you may not know people. They're just friends you haven't met yet. That's how I look at it, because you're going to leave friends with everybody. People help each other. It's a great time, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be working with Digstock and their team to actually make this event come to life here in October on the 20th to the 22nd. So thank you, everybody. If you have questions, I think they put our contact info up there. If not, info@lostdutchmans.com, and I'll respond to you as soon as I can. But thank you, guys.
Yeah, sure. Hold on a second. Thomas, go ahead, man.
Yeah, just want to let everybody know it's Thomas with Digstock, and appreciate you guys having us on. Appreciate Dom and the GPAA, the Lost Dutchman Mining Association. Everything, working with them guys and working with him to make all this come true and be able to work and have people come out and do something different. Us putting this together is all about making memories, and that's what we like to do, and we like to see, whether it's somebody, a grandpa, bringing his grandson, a granddaughter out, or a father bringing their son, their children, mothers, the whole family, like I said, just coming out and getting to enjoy something that, they normally might not be used to doing. And then for folks that, do like to do this stuff, get your friends together, come out and just make it a great big time, where you sit back and get to enjoy, have plenty of laughs. There'll be a lot to do, plenty of things are going on, and I think everybody have a good time. We look forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, sounds like a great event. We going, Tony? Do you have an RV, Tony?
No, but I'm not making this up. I was looking at them today, early before the show. Just ironic that this could turn into something here.
I'm a great passenger. That's all I got to say.
There we go.
I can navigate with the best of them. Go ahead, Tony.
That's right. Guys, I want to thank you for coming on. Appreciate all your time tonight and giving us all the details about Digstock VII. If you guys want to, out there, if you guys want to see kind of what goes on behind the scenes, head over to 5280 Adventures. I post our live video of the show every week, so you guys can see Ken and I, and sometimes our guests, hand signals, funny faces, and shenanigans and all that kind of good stuff. So put in 5280 Adventures into Google, and I'll take you over there. I'm on Facebook as well. And great show, Ken.
Yeah,
we got to make this road trip happen, man.
We got to do it. Everyone, thanks for listening. Again, make sure you type gold, just a one word, gold, in the comment section below before next Thursday, and then we will do a random comment picker for everyone that does that and enters that word in, where we'll remove all the duplicates, and then we will pick a winner, and we will announce it on next week's show. So make sure you tune in next Thursday on the 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern for another episode of Relics Radio. We got a great guest lined up. We might be talking about tokens next week. So if you like tokens, make sure you turn into the show. Thanks again to Dominic and Thomas for joining us tonight. Everyone, have yourself a great weekend and coming up. If you get out and go digging, go get the good stuff. And I want you to tell me about it. But we will catch you next Thursday. Everyone have a good night. We will see you then.